Okay, we're going to move on to the next two sections, actually. Sections 21.2, capacitors in AC circuits, and 21.3, inductors in AC circuits, since they're very, very similar. Let's share the PowerPoint, and let's get going. That's our last slide. And here we go with capacitors in AC circuit. So we have a simple circuit here with a capacitor and a alternating current source. Let's think about what happens when a capacitor is placed in a circuit containing a DC source. For example, a battery as in the top left figure. When the switch is closed, the initial charge on the plates of the capacitor is 0. That means the charges move through the circuit relatively freely, so there is a large current in the circuit. As more charge accumulates on the capacitor, the voltage across it increases, which opposes the current. After some time interval, which depends on the time constant RC, the current approaches 0. That means a capacitor in a DC circuit limits or impedes the current so that it approaches 0. Now let's consider the simple series circuit in the figure on the bottom left, which consists of a capacitor connected to an AC generator. We can sketch curves of the current versus time and voltage versus time shown in the figure on the right. First, notice that the segment of the current curve from A to B indicates that the current starts out at a rather large value. This is because there is no charge on the capacitor at t equals 0. That means nothing in the circuit retards the flow of charges except the resistances in the wires. But the current decreases as the voltage across the capacitor increases from C to D on the voltage curve. When the voltage is at point D, the current reverses and begins to increase in the opposite direction, from B to E on the current curve. During this time, the voltage across the capacitor decreases from D to F because the plates are now losing the charge they accumulated earlier. The remainder of the cycle for both voltage and current is a repeat of the first half of the cycle. The current reaches a maximum value of the opposite direction at point E on the current curve, and then decreases as the voltage across the capacitor builds up. In a purely resistive circuit, the current and voltage are always in step with each other. That isn't the case when a capacitor is in the circuit. As you can see in the graph, an alternating voltage is applied across the capacitor, and the voltage reaches its maximum value 1/4 of a cycle after the current reaches its maximum value. We say that the voltage across the capacitor always lags the current by 90 degrees. Okay, so the voltage across the capacitor lags the current by 90 degrees. Okay. Now, the impeding effect of a capacitor on the current in an AC circuit is expressed in terms of a factor called the capacitive reactance, defined as shown here. X sub C equals 1 over 2 pi F times the capacitance, where omega is equal to 2 pi F. So you can write this X sub C equals 1 over omega C. When C is in farads and F is in hertz, the unit of capacitive reactance is the ohm. From this equation, you can see that as the frequency F of the voltage source increases, the capacitive reactance decreases, so the current increases. At high frequency, there is less time available to charge the capacitor, so less charge and voltage accumulate on the capacitor, which means less opposition to the flow of charge and a higher current. Because capacitive reactance is analogous to resistance, we can write an equation of the same form as Ohm's law to describe AC circuits containing capacitors. VC max equals IRMS times XC max, where XC is the capacitive reactance. This equation relates the RMS voltage and RMS current in the circuit to the capacitive reactance. So this ends the capacitors in AC circuit section, but we're going to continue this video with section 21.3, inductors in an AC circuit. Okay. Now, let's consider an AC circuit consisting only of an inductor connected to the terminals of an AC source, as in the figure shown here. Of course, in any real circuit, there is some resistance in the wire forming the inductive coil, but we will ignore this for now. The changing current output of the generator produces a back EMF that impedes the current in the circuit. The magnitude of this back EMF is given here. Delta VL equals L delta I over delta T, the current, changing current over changing time, or the section of time. The effective resistance of the coil in an AC circuit is measured by a quantity called the inductive reactance, where X of L is equal to 2 pi FL, or X of L equals omega L. When F is in hertz and L is in henries, the unit of inductive reactance is the ohm. The inductive reactance increases with increasing frequency and increasing inductance. This is opposite the case with capacitors, where increasing frequency or capacitance decreases the capacitive reactance. Let me read that sentence again. This is opposite the case with capacitors, where increasing frequency or capacitance decreases the capacitive reactance. Let's take a closer look at this second equation. First, note that the inductive reactance depends on the inductance L, which is reasonable because the back EMF is large for large values of L. Also notice that the inductive reactance depends on the frequency F. This dependence is reasonable because the back EMF depends on the change in I over the change in T, a quantity that is large when the current changes rapidly, as it would for high frequencies. With inductive reactance defined in this way, we can write an equation for the same form as Ohm's law for the voltage across the coil or inductor. VL RMS is equal to I RMS times X of L, or the X of L is the inductive reactance. Okay, let's now, the graph here shows the instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current across the coil as functions of time. When a sinusoidal voltage is applied across an inductor, the voltage reaches its maximum value 1/4 of an oscillation period before the current reaches its maximum value. In this situation, we say that the voltage across an inductor leads the current by 90 degrees. The voltage across an inductor always leads the current by 90 degrees. Now, why is this the case? Take a look at point A on the current curve. Here, the current is beginning to increase in the positive direction. At this instant, the rate of change of current, the slope of the current curve, is at a maximum. And we see from the equation here that the voltage across the inductor is also at a maximum. As the current rises between points A and B on the curve, the rate of change of current gradually decreases until it reaches 0 at point B. That means the voltage across the inductor is decreasing during this same time interval, as you can see by the segment between C and D on the voltage curve. Immediately after point B, the current begins to decrease, although notice that it still has the same direction it had during the previous quarter cycle. As the current decreases to 0 from B to E on the curve, a voltage is again induced in the coil from D to F. But the polarity of this voltage is opposite the polarity of the voltage induced between C and D. This occurs because back EMFs always oppose the change in current. Okay, this ends the inductors in an AC circuit section. The next section we will discuss is section 21.4 RLC series circuit. And this is kind of where we were heading with all of this discussion of resistors, capacitors, and inductors, where you combine them all, and there's some neat effects that take place. Okay.